and we see Cobb and his colleague Arthur in the same room, sitting in front of a man named 𝐤𝐳𝐸. 𝐤𝐳𝐸 runs his company, Proclus Global, and is a wealthy businessman. Cobb is pitching the concept of information theft through dreams, but 𝐤𝐳𝐸 isn't interested, so he leaves. It is revealed that Cobb and Arthur are in a dream with 𝐤𝐸𝐸, and they are in 𝐤𝐸𝐸's apartment in real life. Back in the dream, Cobb and Arthur head out while reevaluating their mission strategy. They notice Cobb's late wife, Mal, who's also in the dream. As part of Cobb's subconscious, Mal shows up in his dreams. Arthur shows concern for their plan due to Mal's presence, but Cobb mentions he'll take care of her. Cobb confronts Mal and questions if she's planning on interrupting his plan. Cobb then takes Mal to a room and tells her to sit while he climbs down from the window. Cobb finds a safe that contains an envelope, so Cobb swaps it with a replica because it contains the information he's extracting. Cobb gets ambushed by Mal and 𝐤𝐸𝐸, who have Arthur as a captive. 𝐤𝐸𝐸 takes back his envelope while Mal shoots Arthur. To wake him up, Cobb shoots Arthur in the head and runs away with the envelope. Arthur wakes up in 𝐤𝐸𝐸's real apartment, where they are being looked after by Nash, their partner. Nash is an architect, responsible for designing dreamscapes in the film. Cobb is still in the dream where everything starts falling apart since it was Arthur's dream, and he woke up. Cobb skims the documents inside the envelope, but some information is redacted. 𝐤𝐸𝐸 wakes up and pulls a gun on Arthur while Nash dunks Cobb in the bathtub to wake him. 𝐤𝐸𝐸 attacks Nash, but Cobb quickly disarms him. It is revealed this apartment is also a dream. And wants Steven to lend his brightest student, whom they can use as an architect for their dream designs. Steven introduces Cobb to Ariadne, his brightest student. Cobb now teaches Ariadne the rules and laws of dreams. They sit at a coffee shop where Cobb reveals they are in her dream, and the entire place starts destroying in slow motion as Ariadne realizes they are in her dream. Upon waking up in the real world, Arthur reveals to Ariadne that time works slowly in dreams. 5 minutes in the real world are 5 hours in dreams. They re-enter Ariadne's dream, where she starts constructing buildings in a fourth-dimensional way. Cobb notices her building structures from the real world, so he warns her to make new places so she doesn't lose grasp of the real world. Mal is in Cobb's subconscious, and she takes over again as everyone grabs them, and Mal stabs Ariadne. They wake up, and Ariadne is freaked out, so Arthur explains to her the concept of totems. Cobb and Arthur now decide to recruit more players, so Cobb meets up with an old partner, 𝐤𝐸𝐸𝐸. 𝐤𝐸𝐸𝐸 is a deceiver and a dream manipulator who can change himself into different people in dreams just by learning about them. 𝐤𝐸𝐸𝐸 joins Cobb, but Cobb gets noticed by his former clients, who hired Cobb to extract information from 𝐤𝐸𝐸𝐸. Cobb runs away and manages to escape them until 𝐤𝐸𝐸𝐸 rescues him. They pick up 𝐤𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸 and meet a man named Yusuf. They want to recruit Yusuf because he makes sleeping drugs that they can use to put themselves in dreams. Cobb and his team, along with 𝐤𝐸𝐸𝐸, are planning to go into 3 levels of dreaming, whereas most have only done 2 levels. The team is intact, and they start making strategies for the different levels. One day, Ariadne notices Cobb dreaming alone, so she joins his dream. She finds him sitting with Mal, so Cobb takes her away and reveals his family situation. They enter the suite where Mal committed suicide. but Cobb quickly escapes with Ariadne. Ariadne is now worried Cobb's situation is getting worse and might cause a problem in their plan. They find out about Morris Fisher's passing, so Saito informs Cobb about Robert Fisher, who's planning to board a flight to take his dad's corpse back home. Cobb and his team board the same flight as Robert's and sit next to him. They sneakily drug his beverage and put him into sleep using the machine that makes people dream. The staff is working for Saito, so no one interrupts them. Upon entering the first level, the team captures Robert, whereas Cobb gets railed by a train, which is Mal working subconsciously. While kidnapping Robert, the team gets ambushed by assassins because Robert's mind has been military trained. They manage to defeat the armed men and escape, but Saito gets shot in the process. 𝐤𝐬𝐷 tries to put Saito out of his misery, but Cobb stops him. Yusuf reveals they are heavily sedated, and if they die here, they'll end up in limbo, which is the last level of dreaming, and they will go into a coma in real life. After cooling down, the team continues their plan of planting the idea of dissolution in Robert's head. 𝐤𝐬𝐷 changes himself into Peter Browning, Robert's godfather, pretending to be kidnapped, just like him. 𝐤𝐬𝐷 manipulates Robert into not following his late father's footsteps. Instead, he suggests Robert start something new that he wants. Ariadne confronts Cobb about Mal's train wreck, so Cobb reveals the truth. He tells her that he and Mal enjoyed going into dreams together, and Mal got obsessed and eventually lost track of what was real and what were dreams. One day, she decided to jump out of their apartment, thinking she was dreaming, but it was the real world, and Mal died. Robert's training catches up with them as more shooters start attacking their warehouse. The gang decides to leave in a warehouse and enter Dream Level 2 as Yusuf puts them to sleep. In the second level, Cobb confronts Robert and identifies himself as Robert's dream extraction trainer. Cobb mentions that he's in a dream and he's here to protect him. Cobb asks him to remember what happened, so Robert mentions getting kidnapped, along with his godfather, Peter Browning. Cobb takes Robert to a safe place where Peter Browning enters the room, which is Saito in disguise. Robert finds out that Browning was responsible for his kidnapping, and he wants to know some secret of Robert's. Cobb suggests entering Browning's dream to find out what he wants, which is level 3 of the dream. Robert agrees, so they all go under while Arthur looks after them. Meanwhile, Robert's training is catching up with them again as more guards attack the second and the first level of their dream. The squad arrives at the third level, which is a snow fortress. Cobb informs Robert that there's a hospital in the fortress where he will find his father, and a safe that will reveal why Peter Browning is betraying him. As the team fights off the security defense in all 3 levels, Robert makes it inside the fortress, but Mal strikes again and shoots Robert. Cobb shoots Mal, but he's too late because Robert has gone into limbo. Cobb and Ariadne decide to enter the limbo by going into sleep, as 𝐤𝐬𝐷 helps them. They enter the limbo, and Cobb reveals he and Mal lived 50 years in limbo, before the line between real and fake started to blur for Mal. Cobb believes Robert must be with Mal at their old house, so they head there. They find Robert being held captive by Mal, so Cobb tries to persuade her. Mal agrees to let Robert go on the condition of Cobb staying with her in the limbo. Cobb accepts her offer, so Mal attacks Cobb, but Ariadne shoots her and kicks Robert off the building, which wakes him up in the third level of the dream. 𝐤𝐬𝐷 quickly guides Robert to open Browning's safe, where he finds his father in his deathbed. Maurice tells Robert that the last thing he wished for his son was to become like him. He wishes Robert to dissolve their business and begin a new life. Robert agrees, meaning the idea had been planted and Cobb's mission was successful. 𝐤𝐬𝐷 had planted bombs in the fortress and blasted the fortress, which wakes up all of them on the second level. And they all then wake up on the first level of the dream. Robert now gets confronted by Browning, who's 𝐤𝐬𝐷 in disguise. Browning reveals he wanted to run the company and wanted Robert out of the picture because he knew Maurice didn't want his son to be his successor. Robert realizes he has to start a new business from scratch that gives his life meaning. Meanwhile, everyone realizes Saito has died and entered the limbo. Ariadne reveals Cobb stayed in limbo to find Saito. The movie now shifts back to the beginning of the movie, where Cobb met an old man who was Saito, stuck in limbo for decades. Cobb uses his totem to prove to Saito that he has been stuck in limbo for decades. Cobb and Saito decide to commit suicide, and we see everyone waking up on the plane in the real world. Saito also wakes up and decides to end all charges on Cobb quickly, because he saved his life. Cobb arrives back at his home in America and spins his totem to confirm if he's in the real world. But Professor Steven arrives with Cobb's children. Cobb is able to see their faces, unlike in his dreams where he can't. He reunites with them as the camera pans on Cobb's totem, still spinning. and the movie ends here. Thanks for watching the video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more amazing recaps like that.